Welcome to Teachable Podcast. We focus on providing simple solutions in the classroom. I got a brother man, a pioneer, a change agent, an advocate for young Black men. I got my brother Calvin T. How you doing, brother man? What's up?
How you doing, brother?
So happy to have you here, man. You don't understand, man. Calvin T. Mann is a advocate for school matriculation. He is an advocate for parents' rights, particular young Black males, fathers, families. He is the author of, you can see the title in the back, Oba and Luther, The Adventures. We're going to talk about that. He is the author of over 400 inspirational quotes. Hopefully we can get at least 300. I'm just playing. We're going to do get at least two of the quotes, man. Two of the quotes. We got to get, it's Friday, right? So it says you founded college and high school football team. Is that correct?
I coached.
You coached, excuse me. So you coached. Okay, what particular sport was that?
Basketball.
Excellent, man. So that's my sport. Yeah, man. So we gonna talk about that. Okay. Did you play as well?
Yes.
Okay, so we gotta see. You look like you're a point guard. I can just tell.
Yeah, that's point guards usually lead in a lot of areas.
I love it, man. It's a point guard game, so we can talk about the NBA as well. Excellent. He's affiliated with so many partnerships that are represented in helping people that need it. The United Way in Southeastern Michigan, the Campaign for Black Male Excellence, the Political, Economic, Technological Action Committee, Committee Against Anti-Drug Coalition of America, PBS TV, Bury Detroit, Black Educator, Corporation for Artistic Development, and the Business Shower Network, and lastly, Black Nurses. I got my brother Calvin T in the house, man. What's up, man? God, man. Woo, I need to get some air, man. These credentials is too crazy, bro. Thank you so much for coming on T Simple Podcast, man. We just want to break the gems down, man, because you're doing a lot of stuff. So let's talk about your favorite word, encouragement, man. As a teacher, I have to encourage because, sometimes a lot of my kids be discouraged. So why is that your go-to word, encouragement or encourage?
Well, first of all, thank you for the kind words. But encouragement was something that from years and years of work and being who I was, that I discovered was a real thing, and it was just something that came to me. But in 1992, while working in a daycare center, God gave me the words, encourage me. I'm young. And so I began to do research, and I noticed in a lot of areas that encouragement was missing. And so considering that it was a natural trait in my personality or in my life, being a point guard, I come from the era of helping someone be better. And so upon discovering, turns out it's a great tool. As a matter of fact, the American Family Association of Pediatricians says it's the best way to raise a child.
Encouragement.
Yes, sir.
Affirm. My mother used to always call me, you are Barack Obama. You're the next Barack Obama. She'll just say that. My mother was a teacher. She'll say, Calvin, when the kids, they're down, sometimes you got to give them some embellishment. You gotta shout them out. You gotta give them love. You gotta encourage them, and it makes a big difference.
It does, and the great part about it is when you use it properly, you can actually change the world.
Man, so how can we motivate people with encouragement? Talk about some of your maybe one of your favorite stories of encouragement.
Well, it's, man, I got so many stories. So I will take it from, I got one for you. So I'll take it from the beginning. There was a young man along this journey who was struggling in basketball. And his mom reached out to me and kind of put us together. So here he is, a junior in high school at Southfield High School. And he's not getting any playing time. 6'8", not getting no playing time, right? But have some tools. And So his junior year go through, I go be introduced to him, and the number one thing I noticed right away was his video game usage. And so, talked with him for a second. His mom didn't really want to, pay for the one-on-one mentoring. And so, we moved on. So then I get the call again. This time it's around Christmas. And they live a bike ride away from the high school. Uh-huh. And, she called me and, she just said, Cal, whatever I got to do, I got to get him up, right? So we're talking, I get him on the phone. Then I go see him. And that's our second session. Upon seeing him, again, I recognized video games was his issue, right? Which then made him comfortable, lackadaisical. If I had to make this choice, I ain't really getting no time, the whole nine. So I get the call, and he decided not to go to practice. And so, I got him on the phone, and I said, hey, man, I said, your mom is already spending money. You're on the basketball team, so you obviously can play, but you don't think about other people. You're just concerned about yourself. I said, what attribute are you bringing to the table? What are you doing to help that team? Everybody wants to be the man, but don't want to put the work in to be the man. So what attribute are you bringing to the team that'll get you on the court? I said, if I go over and I talk to the coach, I can guarantee you the coach going to tell me, you don't play hard. You're very inconsistent. You won't work. Right? And when the tough gets going, you back down because you think that you're supposed to have it, that they just supposed to give you time because you 6'8". I say, now here's a little something that'll help you. You're 6'8". You're not the center. You can play power forward. I'm going to make it very simple for you. Every rebound, all you got to do is get every rebound. If you get the rebounds and you put back 4 of those rebounds, that's 8 points. If you get fouled in the process, let's say that's 2 and 1s, you now get 10 points. Let's say you hit 2 jump shots efficiently. Now you got 14 points. And if you grabbed every rebound, that means you got 12 boards. So you got a 14-12 average. Some Division 2 school will most definitely look at you. But you got to put in the effort. Right? And so right now you sitting at home and your team is in the gym and practice. If I were you, I would get on my bike instead of waiting on my mom and make my practice. I don't care if it's rain, sleet, or snow. If this is something that you really want, I'll get on my bike and I'll make it to that practice. Right? And next thing you know, they were in the state finals and he got a full ride to Kentucky State. All work, no play.
Excellent story. So let's talk about teachers now. So currently right now, teachers need encouragement more than ever. Only 2% of teachers are Black males. 40% of teachers, they plan on leaving the profession. Currently right now, we have a smorgasbord of different type of schools within schools. We got teachers teaching virtual and in person at the same time with masks on, catching COVID. My advice, I guess, will always be to just reset. So for example, yesterday, a couple of days ago when they attacked the Capitol, my heart sunk, right. It sunk. You feel me?
Right.
And I asked the question to my kids today, how they felt about it. And then I showed them the video. I don't know if you saw the videos of the cops letting them in with the barricade. Right. I don't know if you saw that.
Right.
But they were so shocked by that. And we had a great conversation, probably like a 20-minute conversation before we even started the lesson. But that was probably the best class I've had all year.
So I'm going to give you a tool, right? I want you to go to the website, my website, EMIWorld.com, EMIYWorld.com. I want you to click the blue Smash Suicide button. And then I want you to get that free PDF to download the EMIYWAY. We just got invited to Southfield schools. We're looking to impact schools across the board. What you just did was part of what we do. We have to be careful as teachers and those who implement, right? We have to be careful of the things and what we are presenting, right? So we don't want to feed the narrative of the victim as much as you want to feed the narrative of leadership. When you come to your Zoom, you, your kids, this entire society is dealing with it. So from this day forward, if you follow the EMIYWAY, the principle, because you already started first, you engaged them. That's why your class was better. You see? And so because you engage them, when you come to class, open that classroom up to engagement first. That draws them. The second thing is you follow the prescription that we laid out in that PDF on our website, which is free, because that's connected to our success for 35 years. That's how we've been able to navigate boys through basketball, through life, to boys, men, husbands, fathers, right? Our EMIYWAY, it works. So you engage, you then empower them while you're instructing them, and then you encourage them. When they give you an inch, you let them know that that inch was important. The other piece about teaching that has to change is making sure that the students is helping each other. We get too caught up in individualizing education. Education is individualized. So it's pressure on you, it's pressure on them, and it's all individualized. We did a study with some kids at two schools. One was Key Elementary. We paired them up, same thing we do with our mentoring program, but we paired them up and we allowed them to work together. When you allow your students to work together, if they don't play, right, if you can get, right, because this is what we did with our basketball team. When I left Ferndale High School, our basketball team was ranked number 2 in the state with a 21 on ACT and a 3.2 average GPA, just from the method that I just gave you that we're giving to everybody for free. It's also the same way that we've been smashing suicide. When you involve, engage, and pull, and right, what happens is you're bringing them to you something they're not getting, because everything tells us to be individuals. There was an article I read today where it was about Trey Young and his partner at the Atlanta Hawks. And everybody, right? Trey's the man. They saying this guy's got to fit. No, the issue is Trey's got the ball. Today's basketball is drowned out in the synthesis of individualism. The reason why you see LeBron James in the final and the championships all the time is because he makes a team. We are too, in my opinion, you're too caught up in the Jordan style game of basketball. So the D League is full of scorers.
Right.
See? So, right. And so now I go overseas and get me a big guy, and he's a player, a passer, a post player, medium range shot. You see what you sacrifice, right? And then the game doesn't have to pass. So that's what we've been teaching in education. That's what we've been teaching in life. That's what is happening to our kids. And therefore it's hard for our children to have unity.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. So where'd you get, this passion for others, and like who embedded that in you to be so selfless You remind me of my coach, man. Like really, you remind me so much of my coach Tony. Um, you know, was it your mother? Was it a teacher? You know, was it basketball? Maybe you said you was a point guard. So obviously, as a point guard, you not only have to control the ball, but you know you control the pace of the game. You know.
Well, it was my parents. It's their DNA. My dad helped, and my mom helped. My dad was a pastor, gospel pioneer, and my mom used to help prostitutes off the street, community driven, even till in her last days.
Which part of Detroit?
I grew up on 8 Mile in Prairie, and I grew up in Royal Oak Township.
Got it. Go ahead.
And so my parents, uh, as significant as they were to society, they gave me life. And so I always say if greatness was in them, it was also in me. So my great grandfather, my mother's grandfather was the first pastor on television in Canada, right? My dad's father and my mom's dad worked together in the church. My mom's dad was the deacon. My dad's father was the pastor. So it's in me. It's in our lineage. It's across the board, right? You know, we are a very, very big family. But what's also there is um this care, this type of care that I even sometimes I don't want to do. You know what I mean? Sometimes I want to, you know, it's like you want to take your Tonka truck, you know what I mean? And go home. You know, I just want to take my little big wheel and go home. But the truth of the matter, when it's in you so naturally, you really have to lean on God. And that's what happened. I found my way running away in different areas. I finally listened to what God, because I had to get all the stuff out the way. And when God spoke, this is what happened.
Where are your peoples from in the South?
My dad was from Tennessee, and my mom was from um, Mississippi, Greenville, Mississippi.
Yeah, man. Detroit has a southern flavor to it. That's why I always ask that question. I'm originally from New Orleans. And when I first moved here, I just saw so many similarities. That's why I fell in love with the city. That's why I moved here.
Well, yeah, but that's the part of that also is the mindset of the struggle. That's why I said we got to be careful that we don't teach the mindset of struggle, but teach them the mindset of leadership and being the difference. We obviously have taught the struggle so much, we lack leadership instead of making sure, like you're at the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy,
right.
right? Every kid that falls out that door should be on leadership. If not, call me. I'll come get it. You know what I mean? Because it's very, very important that our children are leaders, not victims.
Would you say that is a reoccurring theme? You see more followers and not leaders? And if so, what are some examples of that?
You integrate it into a system. In 1968, when they signed the Civil Rights Pact, you integrate it into a system. Once you integrate into something, you are already behind. See, you integrated into a system that you were already behind in. So you had to go through all of these things to fit into this integrated system, right? And so because you've been integrated into this system, all those attacks were upon your life. You were already together being attacked, but at least together when you were attacked, everybody had a piece of that sandwich.
Right.
Once you integrated into that piece, now you have victims. And then you have those who can climb and make a difference, but they're integrated. So their mindset is, I'm integrated in the system. This is as far as I can go. Instead of teaching a dominant mindset of leadership. And it took me so long to understand exactly what that meant. You know what I mean? Because that is ultimately, that's where you see the success.
And that's how you change. That's how you change lives. That's how you actually fix problems. The question was, you know, if you are mixed and you have privilege, and should I feel guilty if I exercise that privilege? And someone was like, no, use your privilege, but just make sure you give back. And a patron got really upset when someone said, why should I give back? I shouldn't have to give back. Because they took it as like me giving them money. So, you know, like you take my money, I give you my money pretty much. But it's way more simpler than that. It's just like being a leader, right? It's teaching leadership skills. It's going into places where there's a chronic victimhood, unfortunately. And you give, you give the fruits of your labor. And that's not always money.
No, but again, everything is attached money. Money has become people's God.
Right.
Right. So people only see success as someone who might have a Benz or a Bentley or a Forerunner. I mean, for a Range Rover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They might see that as success. You know, they cut on the TV and you got diamonds dripping around your neck. They think that's success, right? Your character is what makes your success. You see what I'm saying? Your character is what makes your success, right? How successful are you, right? That's one of them quotes you asked for, right? So your character is what makes you a success.
Okay.
So therefore, when you look at those things, right, and you look at society, you can navigate with a leadership mind. So I give you a point. And this is something that I'm writing on right now, but people always say you need to work twice as hard to be successful.
Right.
Right? You hear it in the form of pity. We got to work twice as hard, right? You hear that, right? That's victim. That's a victim, right? Any amount of success that you're going to have takes twice as hard work. You don't hear the story, right? And that's the very message I sent out today. You don't hear the story of success. There's not one story in the Bible. There's not one person who has the success they have that was comfortable, that didn't work hard. You haven't heard a story yet. If you know a story, send it to me. But you have not seen a story yet or heard a story yet where the person, right, was just suddenly I became rich.
Suddenly.
You haven't heard that. It's always I went through this, and these were the obstacles on the path. It's always more money, more problems. That theory, that comes from hard work, right? Because now you are responsible. So your gift leads to the responsibility of many other people. That school you at is the responsibility of whose ever vision that was to make sure that your livelihood that you're making and getting a check from, that's important. So up here, it can't be no half stepping because your livelihood is attached to the success of that vision. You see? So a lot of times that's not the case, right? And so, it's just looking at things differently and growing into these areas away from everything being a hustle.
Because if you think outside of the individual, like Stephen Crowley says in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you got dependent people, you got independent people, and then most cases we always stop at the independent, right? I got mines, right? But we very rarely we get to interdependence, where it's a plethora of independent people working together for the greater good so they can help the dependent people.
A vision.
So why people don't want to be teachers, man? Because I feel like teachers, you have literally, I feel like it should be teacher, synonymous with leader. Like that's literally like, that's what it's asking you to do. Not saying that's what you are when you become a teacher, but that's like the goal, right? Because you have to do that, right?
Right.
I hear a lot of people talking about Black power, fighting the power. They protesting.
Right.
When they had the whole thing happen, they were talking about going and fighting with those people, right? Reckless.
Right.
But then the same people, I'll ask them, okay, I love that energy. I love that energy. I feel you, bro. Take it to the classroom.
It's hard. We don't have to make it a hard. Being a teacher is, you have to have the passion. It's hard, and you have to care, right?
Yeah.
But okay, it's 19 multi-level businesses out here distracting you. You got street money that's distracting you. You got the get rich quick schemes that's distracting you. You got real estate, flip the house, that's distracting you, right? And they give you all the images of quick money, right? And we don't realize in that process how much money as a teacher and how valuable you really are as a teacher that you can make. I'm not appreciative, right, of teaching, having my summers off, right, and really making a difference in somebody's life because of the individual mindset, right? I remember I was doing in-school suspension at Ferndale High School, right? Got appointed, I'm in school suspension. It's six chairs in this small, tiny little classroom. From the 6 chairs, the word get out about Mr. Mann, and people was getting in trouble to come get the discipline at the study table. Mm-hmm. So now the teachers are sending the work to the study table, and now we got the whole lunchroom. And in the lunchroom is 35 kids. The lunch monitors is going, how do you get them this quiet? What are you doing that they're not doing? Right? And the truth of the matter was the EMIYWAY.
Yeah.
That moment, the moments that you take from this point on, and you know, you're gonna have to call me, brother, right behind this, because it's gonna be overwhelming. But the moment you take and insert the EMIYWAY, right, things begin to shift for the student. It's not about you, it's about getting the best out of the student.
What are the abbreviations again?
Engage, empower, and encourage. All you got to do is get the PDF. It explains everything.
I'm going to get it, brother, man. You selling it, man. And this is an amazing conversation. How you feeling?
I'm awesome.
Excellent, brother, man. So I want to talk about what happens when victimhood turns into recklessness within certain communities where morality is lost and you don't care about yourself or someone else's life, if you know what I'm talking about.
So we failed a lot of kids from the word go, right? Society failed a lot of kids. Society failed a lot of families. We could point out the number of isms, so to speak: nepotism, plagiarism, racism, right? Colorism. We also can, right? We can also point out directly the household, right? So for the last 60 years, we've been throwing away the most important ingredient to a child, especially the boy. The girl has her in-house role model, the boy doesn't. So if you throw away the boy's in-house role model, all you do is follow those factors and the numbers, and you have a number of disappointments. Reading levels, poor, abysmal. Math levels, abysmal, right? Science, comprehension. See? So I take that ingredient, and then I say, you can't be active as a young man, Calvin. If you jump around or move around or fidget around in his class, we're going to recommend some ADHD medicine for you, right? Also at home is a poor diet. So you have sugar. You have a number of kids who pull up to the party stores and they get hot fries and Fago Pop. Yep. So when they walk into school, there's no
nutrients
whatsoever on the brain.
On the brain. On the
brain. On the brain.
Not the body, but the brain.
Brain. Because the blood must circulate through. So if you're not getting the proper nutrients, how much is the brain going to work? If I give you sugar all the time, how much does your brain work? You tell me, let me give you sugar all the time, and you tell me how your brain is going to function, because you're not feeding the brain proper nutrients to feed the body. So now you're sitting in class and you're nodding because the sugar didn't wore off.
You slump.
You slump. So now you can't pay attention, right? And in some cases you might be able to pay attention, but you can't comprehend.
You can't comprehend. You can't process, right?
You cannot process. Sugar does not allow you to process. It does not allow your body to process. It does not allow your blood to process. It does not allow your heart to process. It does not allow your brains to process, your veins to process. Sugar is very, very destructive. And we are and have a major diabetic problem and an epidemic, right? But they took the word sugar off of it and just call it diabetes, which means you still consume sugar,
but you don't produce enough insulin.
And you don't produce enough blood because your brain only looks for sugar.
Yeah, you heard what happened to Dr. Dre.
Aneurysm.
Yeah.
My dad passed away from aneurysm.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yep.
Isn't that how Johnny Cochran died as well?
Yes, sir.
That's when I first learned what a brain aneurysm was. I was young. My mom was like, yeah, he died from a brain aneurysm. And I didn't even know what that was, but I just knew he was the guy that rhymed all the time.
Yeah, and what comes with that though for the doc, right? It's also that divorce.
So I don't want you to talk about his business, but I want you to talk about like the mental health of that, if you can relate, or just like from your experience, because you deal with fathers.
Man, I've been through it myself. So to be clear, the number 2 killer, this is the second way that men die from suicide is divorce. Divorced men commit suicide at a higher rate than you can imagine. So when people say he disappeared or he walked away, there are a number of reasons why men are not in their kids' lives, and they're away from them and don't understand really how important that is. So now, because of societal wise, you walked away, pushed yourself away, and right, that wears on your spirit, your body, your bones. Depression, suicidal thoughts, suicidal
tendencies,
ideations, suicidal modalities. And you make decisions that help. There was a video on YouTube years ago where the father couldn't see his child after court. He was in so much pain for not seeing his child, right, that he threatened the court, right, and the police was standing outside, and he was threatening so much so that he threatened himself and threw himself in the process to be assassinated. He was literally killed because he couldn't see his kids. There's an old video of an old man standing outside the court, right? And this video years ago, and a lot of people saw it, where this older white man waited on the lawyer to come outside, and he shot at him like 6-8 times, shot at the lawyer. And the story behind that was the lawyer literally gutted and gave and helped give the child to the mom, gutted the son financially, and gave the child to the mom. All the rights. When you see certain tendencies, men are reacting when they can't see their children because we grew up without our dads. And it's such a painful thing when you take my fatherhood away from me. So between the court and the ex and the games, you turn someone who doesn't have the potential, but now decides to become something that you least expect. So mental health become a problem. I get calls all the time of men wanting to do harm, and you got to talk them down. Yeah, it's that serious. And a lot of people just say, oh, because they don't want to hear they wasn't in their kid's life. And it's easy for the other side to say, oh, he wasn't around because he's not around to hear that he wasn't around, right? But then when you go and you ask what's his story, why you wasn't in my life, if they still here, if he didn't die of a heart attack, prostate cancer, colon cancer, lung cancer, breast cancer, self-inflicted gunshot wound, high blood pressure, diabetes. If he didn't die from those things, what's really your story? And when you ask him what really is his story, I guarantee you it has everything to do with that court and the ex playing games.
That last part you said?
It'll have everything to do with the court and the ex playing games.
Oh.
Mental I can't health? See my son. Mental health.
Mental health, man.
Yep.
Mental health. Absolutely. Do you know King Mann? The rapper who was killed recently from Chicago?
Was that a shootout outside the bar or something like that?
In Atlanta?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about him?
So he had a posthumous interview with a certain podcast, and the podcast interviewer asked him, pretty much, he was like, "Yo, why is the shooting so bad in Chicago?" And it's so sad because when you see so much potential and it goes away, it makes you want to cry because he was very particular. He was very smart as well. He just was in prison at an early age, and he grew up really fast. And he was a part of the gang. He was a gang. I guess he was a gang. Right. And he said that dudes, they don't know how to express themselves. They don't know how to handle conflict resolution. So something so small as you looking at me the sideways, or just, something so small can escalate to taking someone's life. And he said that they don't, mental health, he said, we don't know how to talk. We don't know how to handle our situations. That's why I'm interested in ceasefires. I don't know if you have any, I don't know if you probably can give me research on if that works or not.
One of my classmates been texting me all day. A couple of years ago, she asked me, to do a ceasefire. Mother Teresa did a ceasefire. There are a number of ceasefires. The truth of the matter is, when to me, again, solving the issue,
the
real issues, right? So I started my whole movement off murder, watching kids get killed. 2004, I started laying shirts where kids were getting killed all over the city. One shirt, one quote. That is what built Encourage Me, I'm Young. It was originally a t-shirt line. Literally. In 2007, a mom gave me the nonprofit, right? And being a part of the nonprofit, I didn't know as much as, of what was nonprofit life. I'm still trying to get these shirts and these t-shirts. I'm trying to be the next Nike. You see what I'm saying? I think our message is hot. encourage me. I'm young. You know what I mean? So I'm on the brand. So our shirts end up on Ron's House, NFL Network, MTV. I'm excited, right? And the mom comes and hands me this nonprofit, and my momentum shift. Now I got this confusion as to what I needed to do. And slowing me down may have been God's way for me to do more. And I struggle myself in this journey, right? Because now I had the nonprofit since 2007. We've impacted 16,000 youth. It's 2020. Now it's 2021. And for me, right, and where we are, I'm pushing this boy to a whole nother level this year, right? We got a 10-city plan, right? Louisiana, one of them.
Hey.
Right? Yes, sir. So we have a 10-city plan, 10,000 males, right? And I'm pushing, right? And I'm not taking no for an answer. And a lot of times what happens is the number of people, or people look and see, oh, you just an ordinary organization. Well, unfortunately, there's nothing ordinary about what we do. And I will not accept that as a norm. So during COVID, we launched the Smash Suicide campaign because Black boys 5 to 11 are number one. What's the missing ingredient, Brother Calvin? Healthy fatherhood. It rolled off your tongue, just as very simple. What does society say, right? Society blames the absent dead, right? Another attack, right? You have a number of people say, oh, he's no good, right? He's just a cheat, or we don't know the true story. We never asked mom what you do. We just accepted that dad left, he's not coming back, or dad left and he's only going to show up every other weekend, or dad left and you don't know dad called every night. One case, my man didn't know. He took his dad down to the court because he'd been getting hammered by the court system. He in his 70s, he in the room, and he hears a whole nother story. And then the mom, she trying to get more money out of him. And the lady comes out and tell him, well, you got all the money. And the son turned and say, oh, you ain't shared those checks. You ain't tell us we was good. You lied and said, see? And he was so distraught. This man, 42 years old, and he was so distraught.
The son.
The son.
And the dad, you said, was 70.
The dad is 70-something.
Paying child support. Oh man.
So
like talk about the crime bill now.
That's just what it is. You know what I mean? We most definitely, the crime bill, we can have that conversation. You know what I mean?
So why should we give Joe Biden a chance despite that? Because that's a big controversy. I know the answer to that, but I'm just curious to hear yours.
Well, first of all, I looked at this a little different, right? There were a couple of reasons why my vote went that way. One was education, two was vice president, and three, I knew diversity was going to be at the table.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So Um, 4 would be Joe Biden for what he did for the unions and saved thousands and thousands of jobs when he worked side by side with Barack Obama. And the fact that him and Barack Obama cultivated a relationship in front of the whole world for 8 years that told Joe Biden that this was possible. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. But people don't care about Barack enough to understand that, to give him credit, to understand that dynamic.
Well, people don't care about Obama because all they was looking for a check. Why you didn't do, reparations? Why you didn't, you know what I mean? Why you didn't come down here? Why you didn't come out here and do what they do? Why you didn't, right? Yeah. And people forget that the Senate was Republican and they threw away every little attempt at anything that he had. They forget that part. So because they're not up on that part, they it's easier to say, well, Obama ain't do nothing. He just walked around, so and so and so and so. Then it turns out, even with them going through the situation right now, in the presidential campaign, you hear Joe Biden say, "Oh, that went right by him." You hear Joe Biden say, "Barack Obama now released more dudes from prison than any president in American history."
He did, man.
Right, and then your boys say, "Well, you should have did more, Joe. Why you didn't do more?" And Joe Biden say, "Because we had a Republican Senate."
Exactly. But bro, that debate, it was the debate, man. That debate he had, he just was like, man, he is a Democratic moderate. He is he is in the middle. He does that, and he is a politician. But I do agree with the other key points you said on why you voted for him. It's much bigger than Joe Biden, and he has a track record.
Well, again, he was the 4th on my list. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I understand exactly.
Right. He was 4th on my list, right? The opportunity that's at the table right now, just for our households to get better at reading, right?
So I had a question about that. So how much does literacy play into this mismanagement of, say, what you gave the example of, his son didn't even know that amount was being taken, or just being financially literate, but on top of literacy and being organized, how much does that contribute to the detriment of this population that you're serving?
Hold on one second.
Yeah, you good. And I don't want to say detriment. I guess
So, all right. So, dads and reading. Let's just take that.
Yeah.
Let's take dads and reading, right? Let's go back to 1920, Shirley Temple, and then come forward and think about all the household movies and shows where you heard the father going into the room and reading to their child during bedtime. Now take that away.
Yeah.
This is not just a Black phenomenon. You see?
Mm-hmm.
This is a phenomenon across the border. Girls read twice as much as boys. And here's my riddle to you. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
This is a riddle. If you give the girl the book and give the boy the game, who's behind?
The girl.
Why?
Because of patriarchy.
No.
I don't know.
Right. You know who's behind. So I give you the statistic before. Girls read twice as much as boys.
Right.
You give the girl the book. You give the boy the game.
Yeah.
When you give the boy the game, with the game comes attention deficit,
right,
or diet,
Poor diet.
poor cognitive health, no energy, lack of testosterone. You see what I'm saying? You give the girl the book. You give the girl the book. She wants to be a lawyer, first lady, president.
Right.
You see what you see the dynamic?
And we give women so much flack for like saying black women saved America when like they did. Like they are doing it, bro.
Well, everybody did, right?
Everybody did.
Okay, let's really look at that and analyze this, right? We talked about how men didn't vote. Well,
80%.
86% of men have always voted Democratic, black men.
Right.
You're not giving them credit.
That's true. That is true.
Right? You're praising you're praising the woman extensively because she has the voice. The male is not praising because he doesn't have the voice. He's not even praising himself. No. You see what I'm saying? So
Roland Martin criticizes that. He says that it's infrastructure. It's like you have to come with an infrastructure before you go to the politicians with your demands. If you don't have an organization intact, if you don't have an infrastructure, then you won't be able to get that platform like to say, like the quote unquote black women have been for the since the Women's March when Trump got elected.
No. So let me give you a quick real history.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. This is where this comes from, right? You got to remember when we first got off the boat, they put the woman in front of the man anyway. That was the way to be destructive.
Okay.
Period. Right?
Yeah.
The woman, she went through a lot, but the man was killed. It's hard for you to chronicle someone who's been killed versus someone who's alive. You go on, you go to war. Right? World War II comes around. All the men are at war. They go and they get the women. When they get the women show up. You can pay that woman 50 cents on a dollar.
Right.
She's going to show up every day. So the government learned right then and there, hey, business people was like, hey, this might not be a bad idea. Right? 1965 roll around, we go into the Food Stamp Act.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 1964 Food Stamp Act, 1965 Juvenile Act. Who does the attack on? The man. The man is frustrated. He comes home every day. He got a hungry family. We go, all right, we're going to cut y'all loose. Y'all got civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome. You're integrated.
Mm-hmm.
Right when you integrate, 1969, the very first time in California, Ronald Reagan signs the No-Fault Divorce Act. 1970 January, 68,000 people filed for divorce. A man can't be in the house with ADC. At that time, that's what it was called. Where did he go? To the streets. We're going to get a job to this woman. Why? Because she going to work for 75 cents on the dollar. Meanwhile, over here, we can eliminate y'all right here, and we need y'all for prison. So here, take these drugs. When Italians and nobody would even give you drugs, they didn't even want to give you drugs. The mob didn't even want you to have drugs. They were like, man, you gonna give it to the moolies? Now you take the drug, you can't sell it to their people. Who you sell it to?
Your own people.
Come on, man. So at this particular point, you're an array because you're integrated. So now you got this high level of prison. You had this high level of fatherlessness. You had this high level of single households now. What fed the single household rate? I could go get this check from the government. I can get check. I can get insurance, right, from this government. That's not right. And when I'm saying all of this, comes opportunity.
Right.
You're not prepared for the opportunity, though. Right. So then, yeah, the crime bill comes down. But what was feeding the crimes bill? We ignore the fact that I forget they was doing meth.
Oh, really?
Right. So you incorporated the results of meth with crack. So, oh my God, look at these people. Yeah, they was on meth. Not everybody was on crack, but crack, oh, and then what happens? You got street rules. You got neighborhood rules. You got your own laws where you don't even know the American law. You got your own laws. So if you look at me, I'm going to kill you. See that?
Yeah.
It's easier for me to do that. Why? Because I come from where the male I needed wasn't present. So when you look at the statistics, 70%, 80% of all murder is committed by boys who don't have a father. Dr. Warren Farrell calls it dead deprived. When you look at terrorists, like the terrorists you saw yesterday, the day before, and the terrorists in other countries and everything else, they're able to take them and use them because they're dead deprived. The biggest epidemic right now that is happening to males is that they don't have the in-house father. Of course, they'll contradict you on that. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, they'll say, oh, you just, like people say, you know, all this work I do, brother, I do for women. Who gonna marry my daughter?
Right.
All this work I do for my aunties, I do for my sister, I do for my ancestors. All this work I do to bring the male up and work with the male at my expense and my time. You don't even donate. You tell me and show me you a teacher. Tell me you ain't felt like they don't care about the boys. Tell me you ain't felt that.
I mean, the entire system is not made for them. They get suspended the most. They get the most attentions. If they are outspoken, they don't have any room to debate or reflect. They just automatically get punitive measures.
He's the number one kicked out human being in education from the daycare through college. They kick him out of daycares, bro. Who they kick him out of daycares? Whose hand? Who handles the daycares?
The mother, the moms, the women.
So unconsciously, again, who gets the book? Who gets the game? Our boys are getting the game, and now it reflects in suicide. My inbox pops on Facebook. I need you to mentor my son. As soon as I say it costs, we don't hear from him.
I mean, it's coronavirus, man. It's hard out here, man. I'll just play.
Right.
But yeah, you got the point.
That's years. That's years, bro.
Where
Bing. Hey, can you help me with my son? Yep. Consulting the first, right, we do an intake form. I got to know what's really going on with the kid. Got to do an intake form. The first down fee is $50. Right? After that, it's $25 an hour. How many hours would you like for me to spend? Once I do my assessment, we can move him here, 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 and here. Right? But 9 out of 10 times, he wouldn't have to be with me that long.
Right.
Right? I have a mentoring program. The mentoring program is $150. Right? The girl, their daughter might have a dance, recital, dressed, the whole nine. Right?
Yeah.
Very seldom is that fee paid on time and upfront. It's a payment plan. And I got in my mentoring program, you got 14 weeks. So you do the math on 150 in 14 weeks, and they get 5 hours. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
My own son, I'm willing to pay a bankroll for you to tutor and mentor him.
Let's get it.
Right? I made a deal. This is a true story. My son went to an alternative school, didn't even have to be an alternative school, tested in the top 10%. I went to the school and made a deal with the principal. If you mentor my son, I'll take all your worst students. And did it. 28 kids. And turned them around just so he didn't have to spend a dime. I took 28 kids from my one. See what I'm saying? Man. So when it comes to that boy, we don't understand what we're doing to his seed by taking the father away from him and what the seed will produce. And I'm not saying that all fathers, right, deserve to be in their kid's life.
Right.
But I'm also saying not all mothers deserve to raise their kids and be in their life, because one thing for sure, when you got to take a look at that, when you really take a look at that, sometimes they get stuck. And so the boy never leaves his mom's side.
So let's talk about your book, man. So the Adventures of Oba and Luther. What is this? I think that's the
wise mole
dashiki racket. You got a dashiki on, so you already know.
That's the wise mole, baby.
The wise mole. Okay, what's up?
That's right. Abu. Abu means father of.
Okay.
Both kids in the book have both their parents. There's 10 lessons in that children's book. Leadership is one of them. How to be a friend is another.
Cool.
Making good decisions is another.
Simple. Keep it simple, bro.
How to move, protecting a friend and stand and support a friend through bullying. Tools. Diversity. See what I'm saying? Listening to adults. All of that is in that book. Adventure, creativity, fantasy is in that book. Yes.
And where can they find the book at, man?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Goodread, and Walmart.com.
How long?
We did Ann Arbor schools purchased the book.
Wow.
Right.
Do you have any data? Do you have any data? Like any things you want to flaunt out from the results or anything?
I have no data from other than the sales.
Got it. That's good.
Right.
That's good. That's
and so in the book, they have on our brand too. So in the book, each character has on the "Encourage Me, I'm Young" t-shirt.
Oh.
Right. The wise mole is there to teach them choice. Brilliant Detroit bought our book.
Wow.
So we're going to do a reading program specifically for boys. You see? Why? Because who's the one that is not reading and can't fly? Books allow you to fly and soar, just like I was saying.
Right.
The girl is able to dream business, presidents, the whole nine. The boy, what is he dreaming if he's not reading? All he has is visual.
Visual.
And what does the visual tell him? The visual tells him, you just like your daddy. The visual tells him, you're no good. The visual tells him you're poor. The visual tells him he's abusive, a player. Visual tells him he's a criminal. He should act like, you see? So these are the visuals that our boys are faced with, that we all are responsible as a community of leaders to change.
And that's the simplicity, y'all. I got my brother Calvin T came through, man. Bro, you don't understand how much, like, I teared up a little bit. I don't know if you noticed, but thank you so much for everything you do, brother, man. You are a gift from the Lord, brother, man. Thank you so much for everything you do. Where can they find you, and what's some other things you got going on?
So you can find me at EMIYWorld.com, EMIYY. Encourage me. I'm young. World, EMIYWorld.com. And we have the Smash Suicide campaign, Respect Day campaign. This year we turned 14. We're looking to build our own facility ground up. So we've been chasing people for the Empowerment Center because we want to build the Empowerment Center so we can help boys from the age of 3 to 18, giving them all the tools, life skills, the whole nine. Sort of like a factory for automobile, but this will be a factory for boys. The Empowerment Center would help us partner and bring some other tools to our boys, right? And everything that we do is to the restoration of family. What does family look like? Boy, man, husband, father, girl, daughter, woman, wife. See what I'm saying? Mother, right? Where do we get these components from, right? How do you soar, right? And so we get, like I told you, we have our 10-city plan for 10 province cities to multiply the work that we're doing so we can be in 10 cities. We just going, brother. Our fatherhood movement, Good Fathers Only, the Business Shower Network. We have businesses working together in the same format where it is unity. You have to teach that. You can't expect us to just all of a sudden circulate resources and things if you haven't been taught to circulate resources. So in our Business Shower Network, the businesses, we have a tech school, etiquette school, heating and cooling, shoe repair, personal change, an amazing woman. We doing the work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what we need is more people purchasing the product, helping us get to that next level. Hoodies, t-shirts. We're getting ready to launch the Ingredients to a Dream for Martin Luther King birthday t-shirt. It's on the website. Ingredients to a Dream with the ingredients on the back, a man, son's, daughter. It's dope. And again, we put product in 48 cities and 8 countries. And so we continue to move forward with the work. And we're sooner or later here, we're going to figure out exactly what we want to cause. And so I'm working with a company out of LA, and they're going to help us shape that cause so we can help more and do more.
Well, again, that's simplicity, y'all. We got Calvin T. He is a student advocate, a parent advocate, a Black male advocate. He is trying to make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to do so you can thrive and not only survive, but enjoy the fruits of your labor, brother, man. I really appreciate everything you're doing. I'm going to definitely buy your book. And it's pronounced Oba, you said?
Yep. I do want to make sure that we keep our mindset on that, right? So I took the character Oba out of the children's book, and he's part of our Smash Suicide campaign. So when you do go to the website, that Smash Suicide campaign is right there for you to get involved. Give a kid the gift of encouragement by purchasing a t-shirt and handing it to someone who may need that encouragement. You know what I mean? So yes, that's what we're doing.
Let's get it, y'all. Thank you so much, family. Peace.
Peace.